Felicia
From the
Michaels,
moment
my
you hear his
princess,
voice, you
has
know
been
there are
entertaining
going to be
audiences
problems.
with a unique
Joey
style
Coco Diaz has
of
been rocking
provocative humor
comedy
since the
stages for
90s, all right?
15 years.
With her
You've seen him in
tongue-in-cheek,
films and
she's been
television,
exploring
but
such
his
topics
real
as the
patois, as
dynamics
he's
of the
fond of saying,
male-female
are the
relationships,
stories from
or
his
as we call
past
them here in
and
the
his
studio,
chaotic
dirty
views on
thoughts,
life that will make
and
this
the
podcast
proliferation
a different
of the
beast.
sensual
Raw
feminist.
pain and
She's a little
passion is how to
firecracker
really
rolled up, and that's
describe
why I
this
love her, and that's why
Cuban-born,
you're going to love
New
listening. So
Jersey
tune in, all right?
animal.
Greetings, you little podcast lovers. You got Beauty and the Beast podcast with Felicia Michaels.
And Joey Diaz, god damn, you make sweats look good.
Look at you, you sexy
Holy
animal.
Shit,
You got a little
son,
sweater
when I lick
on.
those knees,
She got
those
her
little
little
chubby
hot little
knees of
jeans on.
yours.
Felicia Michaels, a woman of many
Many
talents.
talents.
What's happening? Post Labor Day weekend. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's okay. Everybody had a great weekend. Everybody's safe. How was your weekend,
My
Felicia?
weekend was really great. I had a barbecue.
Yes,
You were, of
obviously.
course, here, and I know it might be shocking to people, but I can actually cook a little, right?
Oh my God! It was
Yeah.
the chicken was delicious.
Thank you.
There was hummus. There was some other Greek food there. The sangria was off the chain that you made.
I should have made double the amount of sangria.
But the problem with sangria is that you don't know how hard it is to make, and how it's weird. You need to cut stuff, and it was delicious.
Oh no, sangria
I like the
is
fruit.
the easiest thing to make on the planet.
Really?
I'm gonna tell everyone my sangria secret right now. 1 bottle of shitty Merlot, 1 bottle of Orange Gina, and a bag of frozen mixed fruit. Done.
Delicious.
It's
And
good,
what
right?
you do is you let it sit.
Yeah, you
you
gotta
let
let
the
it sit.
alcohol go into that fruit, and fuck the drink. You eat the fruit later on. You're sitting there like a pilgrim eating
Yeah.
fruit. Next thing you know, you're 3 bags in. I mean, you're just hammered.
Yeah.
You're just hammered. I was always a big sangria guy because where I grew up in North Bergen, close to it, there's this place called Segovia, and they would have pitchers, and they were lethal.
Really?
And we would just get fucking hammered on
And
those
dude,
things.
when you get fucked up on sangria, headache.
Headache, no, it's wine.
Yeah.
I remember one time I
And
robbed
sugar.
an A&P one time, and I robbed a half a gallon of that cooking wine.
Yeah.
Me and Louis Castellito, and we drank that motherfucker smoking dope, listening to Black Sabbath at Hudson
Of
County Park.
cooking wine? Was
Whatever
it
the
like
hell
Madeira?
that is. That shitty wine that people,
Yeah.
some people use for cooking. Well,
Yeah.
we thought we were shoplifting, like we thought we were gangsters, and we took a half a gallon of that, and we drank the whole thing. And I remember going home, passing out, and then waking me up for dinner. And I remember like just lifting my head, and from the pain in the back of your head.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, wine will fucking kill you.
Oh, yeah. It's
Wine is
ugly.
good to a certain degree. It lets you live long. It's got antioxidants, which this whole country is worried about all of a sudden. Everything. My peanuts have antioxidants. They claim they have. You know what I'm saying?
What the fuck is an antioxidant?
Suppose, I don't know, it's like some type of new thing. You know, every 5 years, the country gets a new bug up
Yeah.
their ass, and we're hot and sticky over, and then we just move on, you know.
I can't wait till they claim that cum has antioxidants in
They
it.
do. Cum does have
Cum has
antioxidants.
antioxidants
Yes, it does.
in it.
Whether you drink it or you rub it
Yeah.
on your skin and exfoliate.
Right.
Look at Paris Hilton. She's a freak, but look at her skin. It's always shiny. That's the sperm exfoliation. You know what I'm saying? People are bad.
What is the worst time, the worst experience of being hungover for you?
The worst
Where
experience.
you every time you think of it, you're like,
About right after the longest yard, I went to Beaumont, Texas, which is next to Houston. I would go to Houston, one of my favorite spots, and I would go to Beaumont. This was about 5 years ago. This is what was weird. And I went down there, and I was deep in the coke thing. I was deep in it. I went on the road just to get high in a hotel room. Whether there was somebody there or not, I couldn't even care. I was with Terry. You know, Terry lived here, and I was with her here during the week. I couldn't do anything. So when I went on the road, it was to lose my fucking mind. So I go to Beaumont, and I'm headed to Houston the following week. And I go to Beaumont, the home of
Janis Joplin.
Janis Joplin.
Okay.
They have the Beaumont in Beaumont. They have the Janis Joplin Museum. It's like a pair of underwears and a syringe. It's the fucking. It's the smallest museum you've ever seen in your life. It is. I went there with Tom Rhodes.
Oh, you
When you go to Beaumont, you go to this
Right,
place,
right.
and they have great food. Well, anyway, this club in Beaumont, the guy Slade, who's a good friend of mine, he has a brother who's a white rapper in Beaumont, Texas, which is right next, like the home of the Ku Klux Klan. Like there's a town behind Beaumont. They hate everybody. They even hate white people.
Right.
You understand me? They hate each other. They sit at the table, fuck you, and it's just crazy. So I go to Beaumont, and I'm looking for powder, and the kid says to me, "I got no powder for you, but I got Valiums." And I go, "I don't need Valiums," but I go, "You know what? I know people who do. You know, just give me 30 of them." So I figured I'll bring them back to L.A.
Right.
So the first night you pop one, you go back to your room, you sleep like a baby. It was Thursday night. I had 30 of them. Friday morning, I popped like one in the daytime. I'm like, this is great. And I smoked a joint, and I was high all day. So that night, I go to the club, and I pop one. I get some powder. I start pumping powder. The second show, I eat like 2 more, 3 more. After the show, I go back to the room. I did 2 more fucking bumps, 3 more of those things. I gave her 2. I ate 2 more, whatever. I pass out Saturday. I get up, and the bag still has some in the bottom, right?
Right.
So I get up, I have one in the afternoon, get to calm me down. And now people don't know when you eat Valiums, let's say you eat a 10 milligram Valium, 5% of that or 50% of that goes into fat and it gets stored. Your body doesn't need that much Valium. So that next day when you wake up and hit a joint, it kicks right in.
Yeah.
The Valium sits in your system. It sits in your fat. That's why even if you take it at night, the next day you're a little sluggish. It's like taking Tylenol PMs. You always wake up a little fucked up
Right.
in the morning. So again, I go out Beaumont. It's a big night. It's Saturday night. I'm going to get paid. I'm getting fucking an 8-ball. I start popping these Valiums and drinking Jägermeister.
Oh,
Popping
no.
Valiums, drinking Jägermeister. Then one of the waitresses at the end, like, I heard stories that I was laying down on stage doing the comedy and sitting down, you know. I got the money. Oh, yeah, I was laying down on stage doing comedy.
That's always the worst when you hear stories and you're in the story, but you weren't there.
You weren't there. And I remember going back to the hotel room, and this girl came back, and we did a couple bumps, and then she left or something, and I kept popping those Valiums, and at 3, I remember calling the Coke dealer, and he drove me to some part in Beaumont to get this Coke, and it was just fucking scary. But the Coke was off the chain. It was like these 3 Mexicans, and they had shotguns and cowboy hats and those cowboy boots. But the Coke was tremendous. I went back to the room, and I finished the 3 grams or whatever, and I did the rest of those Valiums. And I remember that I was leaving the next morning. They would give me a wake-up call, and I'm like, it ain't happening. I hung, and I slept from Sunday at 9 in the morning, and I woke up Monday at 3 in the afternoon. And the phone was ringing, you know, people looking for me. Where are you? You're supposed to be in L.A. And I remember getting up and calling Terry, and my mouth was still crooked. Like I was still slurring from the Valiums.
Oh,
and Terry's like, what's the matter? I'm like, nothing. I just don't feel good.
Oh.
And I had my buddy pick me up in Houston, take me to a hotel in Houston on Monday. I got there about 4. We ate something. I puked. I went back to sleep, and I slept till fucking Wednesday. That's how much Valium I had in my... That's a hangover right there.
Joey.
Oh, no, that was horrible.
You're lucky to be alive.
No shit. I was seeing double for 3 or 4 days.
Oh, my God, Joey.
And I got up, and I never ate a Valium again after that. I ate a couple Vicodins after that, but never a Valium. But that was like my worst ever. One time, I used to mug this janitor at the bar Joe Mary's where we hung out. Every Friday, we'd be doing coke. We were like a senior in high school, and we'd do coke on Friday nights. And every Friday night, this fucking guy would walk in, he'd get drunk, and I'd pickpocket him. He always carried this vitamin pill thing in his pocket. And I'd take it out, and he had all these white pills, but he had like 10 Valiums. I'd take the Valiums out and put the pills back in his pocket. I'd give the Valiums to my buddy. But every Friday night, we'd be all there coked up at the bar waiting for the janitor from the high school to come. He'd show up about 1 after he'd mopped the high school.
Right.
And we'd go mug him, and we'd go buy him a beer, dope him up, and then take the Valiums out. Well, he figured it out. After about 2 months of us robbing him every fucking Friday,
Right.
he figured it out. So one night, he just left those white pills in there. So me and my buddies were all gacked up. We're about 18. We're all fucked up. And we're all like, where's the Valiums? I don't know. And I'm looking at these pills. They look like baby Quaaludes.
Right.
Did I tell you about this?
No, no.
I'm like, these are baby Quaaludes. And all my buddies like, great, let's start eating them. We ate the whole fucking thing, and there was like 3 or 4 left over. I go back to my house, whatever. It's Saturday night about 3. Next thing you know, I'm not kidding you guys. I woke up Sunday like at 6, and I got up, puked, and went back to bed and went to sleep. Got up Monday at 8, puked, went back to sleep, drank a little water.
Oh, my God.
Monday night I got up. I finally had to go to the diner, and I checked my messages when I come back. And this happened to all my friends, but one of my friends actually called the hospital, and it was the pills that you give epileptics when they have a seizure. So we were all fucked up on epilepsy pills. That was the worst ever. That was the worst feeling ever.
After I got divorced, I went to Burning Man because my friend Wendy goes to Burning Man every year. And so she had asked me to go a couple of times, and finally I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to Burning Man. And Burning Man's not my thing, but she has an
What is Burning Man like? Because I
Burning
just seen
Man
a
is
video on Facebook.
right.
Explain it to me.
Burning Man is this event that takes place in the California desert. It's just nothing is there, and you go there. All these people show up, and people are naked, and they're doing drugs, and they're tenting, and you can't really buy anything. It's all about trade and barter, and then sandstorms come, and you're on bicycles, and then all of a sudden you're in a fucking sandstorm, and there's nothing around you, and you just come up upon a fucking hot dog stand in the middle of the fucking desert, and you're like, sweet, and you can't buy them. They give them to you, hot dogs. But it's just pretty crazy. There's like raves and dances and copious amounts of drugs, and so I mean, I was ready to go because I had just separated from my husband, and I go up there, and I went with my other girlfriend. I went with my two friends, both named Wendy, and so we were in this RV, and my one friend Wendy, she's off. Like you can't hold that bitch down. She's off, and me and my other friend Wendy are just sitting there, and we're like, God, we were such stick in the muds, and we gotta go out there, but we're timid, and so finally I'm like, fuck it, Wendy. Whoever offers us anything, we're gonna do it. So we start walking around, and this guy comes up and he's like, hey, you chicks want to lick this stuff off my arm? And I said, yep. We put this trail of liquid, and we both licked it up, and then he went upon his merry little way, and then we didn't really feel anything until about 10 minutes later, and we both get this terrible nauseous feeling and a migraine, and we kind of stumble back to the RV, and I'm in the RV, and I see there's a bottle of Motrin, so I pop a Motrin, and the headache won't go away, and I'm nauseous, and I'm kind of laying there, and all these people are coming into the RV, and they're all fucked up, and a party's happening. I'm not going to say what kind of party, but just imagine it, and I start taking another Motrin, and I take about 6 of them, and I'm all like, why won't this fucking headache go away? And this is all within an hour period. And then finally, my other friend, Wendy, stumbles into the RV, and she sees me, open up the Motrin bottle and pop a Motrin. And she, across from the RV, was like, in slow motion, like, no! Right as the Motrin, like, slides down my throat. And I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, that's not Motrin, it's fucking Ritalin. I put it there because my kid's on Ritalin when we went camping last, so that's where his Ritalin was. And let me just tell you, I was fucked up.
Yeah,
I was like excessively thirsty. I was drinking so much water. I was so and I'm chatting naturally. I was like fucking chat and chugging water, and like as I'm chugging water, like, please take the water from my hands because my kidneys are shutting down. And I danced my ass off till about 7 a.m. at some fucking rave, and it was terrible.
We'll be right back. Hold on one second. Listen, we got a bunch of emails again this week from you people, and we love you. And we love when we get emails because it gives us ideas, you know what I'm saying? That's what you're supposed to do, is send us your ideas. Tell them, Felicia.
Please email us your ideas or your stories at beautyandthebeastpodcast@gmail.com. We would certainly love to hear from you.
When I was growing up, my mom had bars. But one of the businesses I think about the most is the dry cleaners. She had a dry cleaner for about a year. That really wasn't a dry cleaner. Upstairs was the bank to a numbers operation for Paramutual, and that was the main bank. We had different satellite offices, but that was where all the action came in. And we would end up there at the end of the day. And there was a guy, we used to call him Mikey Black, because it was Mikey White and Mikey Black. And Mikey Black ironed, like,
right.
And he would move the clothes. But he also, like, I remember being 5 or 4, and he would give me money and go to the store and get me a bottle of blackberry brandy. And don't take a sip, you little bastard. And I would say, why would I take a sip of this shit? I would never drink, you alcoholic cocksucker. And it was just amazing that I would love if God granted me one wish to go to one place in your childhood where you would walk around that neighborhood again, and it was that place. I remember the smell. Like, I still remember taking shirts, and you had to put them on the thing and spray them down and steam them. I did all that shit.
Isn't it amazing, like, how smells will bring out a certain memory? Like, for me, like, the smell of, when you're in the middle of summer and you're in the middle of nowhere, out in the country, whatever, and there's a smell of, like, weeds, like weeds that have been baked, but it reminds me of being in junior high. I'm walking home, and I had granny glasses on and bell bottoms, and these two boys came up to me. They were so fucking cute. This is in Colorado, and one of them looks at me and he's like, "Man, you're really fugly." And so now I could be like, having the best time somewhere, and if I smell that smell, I'm like, oh.
You know what? I remember that smell like Florida. You ever go to Florida to do comedy?
Yeah.
In the morning, Florida just has a great smell to it. You hear those crickets. Kiki, kiki. You hear all that.
Right.
Whenever I go to Florida, I think of being a kid. That's one thing about Florida. Let me ask you something. When did you get your first piece of ass? How old were you when you lost your virginity?
When I lost my virginity, I lost my virginity late compared to most of my friends. I was 17, and I lost it to this guy named Todd Glaze. I know, Joey. Todd fucking Glaze. And we were up in the mountains, and it wasn't that spectacular. We had a couple of beers. We walked into the woods. He pushed me down. He jumped on top. It was over before, personally, I felt the stick going up my ass was a little bit more luscious than what he was doing. You know what I mean? And it was terrible. It was terrible. Nothing happened.
That's it?
That's it.
And you never seen him again?
I saw him like a couple of months later. And but then you have to understand, I had this boyfriend. When I was 15 years old, I lived in Fountain, Colorado, which is a little town outside Colorado Springs. And I had my two best friends, Tammy and Sarah, it was three, Tammy, Sarah, and Tina. And Tina was beautiful. She had long red hair, and she was just gorgeous. And she had this boyfriend named Mike, and Mike was a bad boy, and he had this friend named Kevin Colvin. And I had this other girlfriend named Tammy, who every guy wanted to be with, but she's just a big cock tease. And her sister Sarah, who fucked everybody, you know what I mean, who had like 25 abortions by the time she was 19. And so they all had like little, like, cars, like Comets that were souped up, or a Road Runner, and they were all in a car, and I was in a car with a guy named Dave, who wasn't that spectacular, but like I was the schlep rock of my group, other than Sarah, who would just fuck, so that's why guys would be with her. And we would go driving up into the Garden of the Gods, right? And I remember one time, and my mom was very ill at this time, and Kevin was the most popular boy at the time. And I remember we're all parked at Garden of the Gods, and they were all making out. And then Tammy came up to my window like 1 a.m. at the Garden of the Gods, and she knocks on the window, and she's like, "You got to get out of Dave's car. You need to go to Kevin's car." And I was like, "What?" Because he was like the most popular boy in Colorado Springs. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Kevin wants you to go in his car." So I was like, "All right." So I go into Kevin's car. And it turned out his mother had passed away 2 years before from a long illness. And when she had told him that my mother was in the hospital and ill, he just really wanted someone to talk to and to share that experience. So I get in the car with him, and he was my first love. He was just the most amazing thing. So I meet him, right? And then about a week later, I'm like ironing my jeans, getting ready to go to school, and the news comes on. Some boys stole a hot rod and drove it through the gym at the local school. And an hour later, I get a call from Kevin in jail. Like, it couldn't get any better. And he made his only phone call to me. Like, "I'm totally thinking about you." And he was the most awesomest guy. And I totally would have fucked him. This is before I was with Todd Glaze. And I would have totally, at the age of 15, fucked him. But they were older boys, and they would party a lot. And I remember that we were at someone's house, and MTV had just started to come on. And we were in the bedroom, and he would have been my first. And all the girls were doing coke and speed and smoking and drinking, and I wanted to do it, and he said no, because I don't want it to be like this with you. And he was like the coolest guy on the planet.
Oh my God, I might cry.
I know, but then they had to leave the state because they were going to get put in jail because they stole this car and they ruined the high school gym and all this kind of shit. So, and it was so romantic because the night they left, he came to my window and he threw a rock at it, and I was all like, "Kevin!" So I never got to hop onto that. He looked like Sean Cassidy too, so it was like, and
like
I don't even like
Bon Jovi song. That
fucking
thing, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know. It was a
Bon Jovi song.
John Mellencamp song, or John Cougar at that time.
See, fucking
He was my first love. He should have been the first, though, but instead it was fucking Todd Glaze. Todd Glaze, if you're out there,
Fuck you, cocksucker.
fuck you.
I didn't sleep with my first love.
See, you didn't either, right?
No, but not because I would have killed her if I had the chance. I loved her. She was beautiful, but
Yeah.
we just fizzled out. Something happened.
So who was the first person you had sex with?
My mother had that dry cleaner,
Right.
and the guy who was her partner in that dry cleaner he had a daughter, and she was a little older than I was. And on the weekends, instead of driving back and forth to the Bronx, I would stay at his house. And I remember the first time we fooled around, she had hair and I didn't.
Oh, really?
Like, she was a little older, and I remember, like, we fooled around, and I asked her if she had done this before, no, and stuff. But I don't really, like, in hindsight, I remember it, but I don't. Like, I don't remember if I ate her monkey. I don't think so. I was too fucking young.
I can't
was too
imagine
young.
you would have at that
But then,
age.
like, I talked to friends of mine, they didn't really have a lot of virgins. I slept with a lot of virgins. I was really lucky when I was young. And there was no lucky. It's a fucking nightmare. There's tears, there's a mess, and
Really?
it's drama. Oh,
Really?
fuck.
Tears? Oh, tears?
Yeah, I remember one time I was with this girl, and she was a cheerleader, and I was like a basketball player for St. Michael's, and she was a cheerleader for St. Michael's CYO. And she was an Irish girl, and we kind of used to swap spit and dry hump in the 8th grade. And then one day, on a Monday, it was like a Monday, like those long weekends where your dad
Right.
has to work. I went to her house in the daytime. She's like, I'm ready to do it. And she cried, and then I put it in, and there was blood, and I didn't faint. You know? I didn't see the blood. She just told me, and then she called me at night. You know what this means? We have to stay together. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm going away to basketball camp in 3 weeks, you know? I'm going to a 5-star basketball camp with some
I
players.
gave you the drill. Now I'm off to do some
and
drills.
I didn't really feel it. Like, I didn't really feel like it was like I didn't even really want to be with her after that. It was kind of weird.
Really?
It was the weirdest thing. I was like embarrassed. I didn't know if I knew what I was doing. I was really embarrassed. And then when I was playing for St. Michael's CYO, it was the 8th grade. Like, I was on fire that year.
So you had sex in the 8th grade?
Oh, please. I had sex with Evie was her name. I was probably in the 6th grade
What?
when I had sex with her.
Really?
I had no fucking hair.
And you had, what grade was she in?
Probably 7th. She had hair.
Really?
7th or 8th, maybe.
I'm going to tell you something. The men that, first of all, I didn't even like sex till I was
No.
end of my 20s. I mean, I did
You don't
it. I
you don't really
participated willingly.
Yeah, you don't understand.
But you don't, you're too concerned about, I got to suck my gut in and look like this. And by the time you're at the end of your 20s, you're like, fucking hop on board, mama.
Well, when you're a young guy or a young girl, you don't even eat ass or suck dick the right way. I talk about this on stage, how you kind of like when you're in your late 20s, that's when you're like, I really like ass. You're driving, you're like, I could really go for eating a piece of pussy right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when, even you as a woman, I could really suck a dick right now. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you feel it, but that doesn't come till later on. When you're young, you just want to fuck. You just want to conquer or something.
Yeah.
But one of the weirdest things I ever did was, I don't know how funny this is or what happened, but I was in the 8th grade, and she was a freshman cheerleader. And her parents fucking hated me. This is the same one I told you about this, that her parents caught me fingering her on the balcony.
Oh.
Like, her parents were like, Renee, what are you doing? And my hand was in her pants.
Right.
And the next day they moved. Like, it was just
Are
amazing.
you serious?
No, it was horrible. Her
Really?
brother was our 8th grade basketball coach, and he never came back. He was a fireman, yeah. I know what their names are, but it was really funny. But her and I met at somebody's house, and we kind of flirted, and then we talked on the phone. And then one day she goes, I hear you play for St. Michael's. I cheerlead at Holy Rosary. Why don't you walk me home? And this is a weird story. It was fucking freezing. It's football season in New Jersey.
Right.
It's basketball, football. So it's got to be end of November, early December. It's freezing, and I walk her. Like, we're going to walk to the neighborhood. She lived maybe 3 blocks from me. And right behind my grammar school, McKinley School. We went back there, and we started swapping spit and whatever. And I didn't know the drill. And I got to tell this story because that's how dumb we are. We're kids, And we're swapping spit. She had a little cheerleading suit on. And, I started touching her, feeling. I remember I pulled off her skirt. And you'll be my first. Oh, my God. And I'm like, you're fucking 15, You haven't had dick yet. I mean, I was, like, blown away.
Right.
So I just didn't know. So I attacked it. And all of a sudden, there's a little puddle of blood. And, we're done. And she's crying. And she's like, I can't believe it. I'm Catholic. I'm going to have to go home. That whole shit. But right before she puts her panties on. I don't know. I don't really know how it works. I go down on her. Like, after I put it in and popped the cherry and took it out, I go down on her. because I didn't think there was blood. I didn't think she was a virgin. I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
So I like went down there and took a couple licks or something, and it felt warm, and she had hair, and the hair was cold. It was kind of weird. It's a weird. So I'll never forget. I walk her home, and I walk in my front door, and there's my mom sitting there with my stepdad and like a cousin or something. They're just drinking. It's a Friday night. And I remember as I get close, my mom was like, "What's that on your face?" I guess I had blood on my face, like on my chin or something.
And one pube.
And one pube.
That one stringly pube. When when you're a woman and you first get your pubes, there's nothing shaking. Then one day you wake up and there's like one Lone Ranger.
Oh, it was fucking crazy. That's amazing that you said that. My mother's looking at me and she says like a little bit of blood and the hair was stuck somewhere. It was cold. And she's like, "What have you been messing around? The Wolfman? Go wash your face." I'll never forget that. She called it the Wolfman, not the pussy. She was just throwing out a joke.
Right.
But I thought she knew something. And I went upstairs, gargled, the whole fucking deal. And she's like, "Where have you been?" Like, "Oh, I'm not." And I was playing basketball. And that was the end of it. But I never, a month after that was when I got caught with my hand in her pants and they had to move out.
Yeah.
But that was.
Aww. That must have been a heartache.
And then I was in love with a girl for 4 years. And like secretly in love with her. We talked on the phone. Nothing was ever said. We were just friends.
Right.
But she dated a good friend of mine and stuff. And I went to the prom with her girlfriend and all this shit. And then one day the girl was going away to college. So I was like, we might as well start loosening this up a little bit. So this girl called me that we were friends. And we'd hang out. She'd hold my Coke for me in high school. She came from her parents' owned like a body shop or some shit. And one weekend, I waited all my life to sleep with this girl. And one weekend I finally did it, and we never talked again.
Really?
It was the weirdest thing. Like
was it good? Was it good? As much as it can be as a teenager.
I remember I was 18. I had just graduated high school. This is what I do remember. And I remember we went to the Binghamton boat to watch a movie. The plan was to go to Piccolissimo for Lobster Fra Diablo. They had a special. It was amazing. Fucking amazing at this place in Fort Lee. And then from there, I was going to take it to the Binghamton boat. And then from there, we were going to go home. We were just 19, 18.
Right.
18. We were 18. We might go over to the city or whatever. I had a little bit of Coke on me. And then we went out to dinner, and we had a great time. And this is after years of talking on the phone and being friends. And, I knew guys she dated. I knew she was a virgin, and I remember we went out, and we were laughing, and she had mentioned it. She goes, what's the story? When is this going to happen? And we went to the car, and I'll never forget, we went to the car out by the Binghamton. We're doing some Coke. And we were drinking a little bit, and all of a sudden I went down on her. And I remember she put talcum powder on her monkey. It was tremendous, but it was fucking great. Like, finally, the love of my life, I'm going down on her. Not only am I going to give her a stabbing, but this is me. I'm a fucking man. I've arrived. So that was Thursday night. Friday night, we didn't do anything. We just, snuggied. And then Saturday was like an 8-hour struggle. Like, I don't know. I want to save this for marriage. I've been thinking about it. Fuck it. I'll walk home. And then as I'm walking home after 2 miles, she's right there waiting for me. Let's go do it.
Right.
Went back to her house. We did it, and that was it. And then, a week later, I seen her at a bar, and she's like, "I've been mad at you. You took my virginity. I might be pregnant. What I'm going to tell my husband when I get married? You're not the one for me." And I was like, "Really?" And I just never really said nothing. And I moved on. Then I seen her at a Coke dealer's house one night in New York, and she's like, "How are you?" "Great. Good to see you. Bye." How do you bump into somebody? We were both from Jersey, and I bumped into her on 178th Street in Amsterdam, copping Coke. Like, it wasn't a specific Coke dealer's house. It was just
in Amsterdam.
Yeah, it was just
oh
a
my
spot.
God.
No, it was 179th off the bus station going down towards the water. So you get off the bus, you walk around the corner, go up to the third floor, see Flacco. That was his name, Flacco, because he was skinny. You know what I'm saying?
I tell you, the best sex, the men who are really great in bed, I find, are men that when they were around 18, 19, an older woman took them aside and showed them how to fucking hook up a woman.
Absolutely,
because it's surprising how some men, even in their 40s, like, dude, if you can't fuck in your 40s, what's going on?
What's going to happen?
You know what I mean?
What's the next fucking move?
Yeah.
If you can't sling dick when you're 40.
I know.
You got no waist control. You've never seen an Elvis movie. You never pulled anybody's fucking hair. What is wrong with you?
I know. I love my hair being pulled. God damn, I love my hair being pulled.
It's amazing. I was 20 and I ran into a 29-year-old girl, and it was.
She schooled you, right?
I remember her stopping me eating pussy and going, "Listen, do me a favor, all right? It's right here. What are you looking at my belly button for?"
Little lick,
Yeah.
chew, chew, chew.
Yeah.
Little lick, nibble, nibble, nibble. Big lick, little lick, then bite the fuck out of that clit.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta know, all right? Stabbing, pull out, little stab, little stab, little stab, little stab, little stab. Let the girl wait, little stab, grab her hair, fuck her. That's all you gotta do. You know what I mean? Not pound. Are you learning something, Joey?
I'm not learning something. I am fucking blown the fuck away. I am just blown away.
That's what
You
I
should have
like.
seen Felicia's face. She went back to that moment when she schooled somebody. When she's like, listen, you fucking Momo, this is plain and simple. Little lick. You should have seen her face. It was priceless. If you have your little lick stories, send them to Beauty and the Beast podcast at gmail.com.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I hate when you're with a guy and he's pounding you like a fucking jackhammer. I hate that. Like, really, dude, I'm not the city street and the pipes need to be fucking refitted. Take your time. Make me beg for it a little. Make me wonder, when is this mother? And then, bam.
When is he going to unleash the hammer of the God?
That's
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah.
When is he going to pull my fucking wig off?
I know.
I love all that nasty shit. You got me all hot and sticky now. You know what I'm
All
saying?
right. Well, listen. If you don't agree with my little lick, nibble analogy, please email us at beautyandthebeastpodcast@gmail.com. We would certainly like to hear how you go about making the ladies dance on the sheets.
That's right, you filthy freak. We'll be back.
Well, I would like to say my thoughts go out to the Schimmel family.
That's right. We didn't give any love to him on the last podcast. Like to send him my
yes. Robert Schimmel, a great comedian, passed away, and it's been very interesting to see people's comments and thoughts on Facebook and actually on CNN. Joy Behar brought him up with Dennis Leary on CNN, and he lived an intense, a tragic life, and a life full of laughter.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And it was pretty interesting. You know, it was pretty interesting life. And I got the chance to watch him on the Rodney thing, and I was a fan.
I worked once with him in Guam, and I'll remember that we took a flight to Guam, and he was like, here, take this muscle relaxant and this sleeping pill. Don't talk to me, and I'll see you in Guam. We wake up, we're in Guam.
Wow.
That's the best advice any comic ever gave me on the road. Take a muscle relaxant and a sleeping pill. Now shut the fuck up and go to sleep.
I'll see you in Guam.
I'll see you in Guam. Please do email us at beautyandthebeastpodcast@gmail.com. Joey and myself actively try to return as many emails as possible. We've had some very amazing emails. We had an email from a young man who's 18 and struggling,
coke and
and in trouble and trying to pull his shit together. And you know, when we started this podcast, we want it to be funny. We want to talk about, you know, as Joey says, eating ass, and about sex and all that kind of stuff. But we also want to share our stories with people and have people share their stories with us. Not in some fucking fake Oprah kind of way, but just like, look, life is fucking hard. Dare to dream. Dare to dream and share your shit, because that's the first step.
As Felicia said in episode 2, be optimistic. And I've really been living
You
like that lately.
have to be optimistic.
And that's the motto for Beauty and the Beast podcast. So when we start a bar or a club, that's going to be the fucking code. Who is it? Be optimistic. Right? We'll be right back. Beauty and the Beast podcast. Felicia Michaels.
And Joey motherfucking Diaz.
Somebody emailed me and said that they had seen me maybe 3-4 years ago. He said I was funny, but when he left, he told his buddies that Joey didn't look good.
Right.
You know, it's weird. I had just done the longest shot, I guess, and he said that he left there and just made a mental note, like anybody else would do. You know, that guy's not healthy. You know, and that he was going through YouTube and he seen a video I did, and he goes, he couldn't believe it, how much weight I lost, and he contacted me to compliment me, and he goes that he just went to the doctor, and the doctor told him he had high blood pressure, and that, you know, he's embarrassed about going to the gym and stuff with his weight. And I thought about it. You know, I wrote him back. I forget what the guy's name was. I wrote him back, and I said, you know, it's very tough. You know, it's how you look at it again. 5,000 could be a lot. You know, 100 pounds to lose could be a lot, or it could be a little. It's up to you, and you have to have a plan. It's so weird that I went to, the day before, I had gone to the farmer's market, and I seen 2 pretty girls. 28, 29, and they were both lesbians, and they were ginormous. And they were eating fruit. We were all getting fruit, and I smiled at them, and they smiled, and they were visiting, but they had this look in their eye, both of them, you know. And I walked away, and that look is when you're fat, because I had that look. I remember that feeling when you're fat and you don't know what to do.
Right.
It's like being addicted to coke. It's like being addicted to cock, comic books. You just don't know what to do, and you find yourself in a rut. And there's 2 years there when you're fat where you just don't give a fuck no more. People say to you about diets. You watch all this shit on television, and then what happens is you get enthusiastic and you pay a trainer. And this knucklehead trainer forgets that you're 400 pounds. And he makes you do a military thing, and then you're so sore, and you actually, in your heart, you give up. You say, I did try to lose weight, and it's just too hard, and I gave up with the exercise. And so now you accept your fate. And that's a fate that I had at one point. Like, I lived across the street from a Y for 5 years before I crossed the street. For the first 3 years, I thought it was a library. And then after Terry told me it was a Y, yeah, I joined, and I wouldn't go over, you know. And I remember that it was so hard just to go over.
Yeah.
Because you're embarrassed. You got a shirt on, everybody's jumping up. And then I started going over there, and I started realizing that people were looking out for me. Like, I would go over, the first thing I would do is swim, because I know that my bones wouldn't hurt. So I would just swim. And let me tell you something, you got to take your shirt off. So here I would have bigger tits than the girls in the fucking pool. And I'd be in the training pool, and I almost drowned one time at the Y. I've told that story and everything, and it's so weird how I took baby steps. And then it got to the point where I would walk up steps to my building, like the elevator would be out 3 floors. By the time I walked up to the 3rd step, it was either I pissed or I breathed. So I would pee my pants on purpose. I would go out with 2 pair of underwears because I would have to pee my pants. When I go to the gym and exercise, I'd have to have 2 pair of underwears on because if I caught my breath, I couldn't breathe after that, and I just pee. It was just, that's how bad I got. I'm just letting the people know that, you know, when you work out, it's a horrible feeling at first because you're so fucking embarrassed and you're dying to give up. But after the 3 months of me, I just started lightly. I started walking 2 blocks. Bro, I would walk 2 blocks and I'd be winded. 2 fucking blocks. I remember the first time I went over to the Y and they had a fitness program and I conned the guy to get in there. I didn't want to be in shape. I just thought in my mind. And I remember he put me on the thing that you walk on. I walked 4 minutes and he had to turn
The treadmill?
it off.
Yeah.
On the treadmill, 4 minutes, and I was out of breath.
Yeah.
And I remember going home and smoking a pack of cigarettes and going, I'm just going to accept this, you know? I'm just going to accept this fucking fate that I have. I'm just going to die or whatever's going to happen. And I started boxing, you know, like 3 times a week. I'd pay the guy $25, and he had mitts, and I go in there, and I go early so nobody would see me.
Right.
I go at 5:30. Like, that's how embarrassed I was. And that's the main thing you got to overcome is that embarrassment. And then I went to Weight Watchers. And I got to tell you something. Weight Watchers on paper sounds gay, but it's the best diet you could do because it's natural. It's no milkshakes. It's no, you can't eat carbs. It's what you want to eat, and it's just self-control. And what I call it is the county jail diet. Whenever you go to county jail, you lose weight. And you eat chocolate, you drink chocolate milk. You know why? Because you eat in little portions.
Right.
You eat in little portions like a human fucking being, not like an animal that we really are. So that's why when you go to jail, you come out, people are like, oh, you look great. And you're like, I was eating salami sandwiches. Yeah, but you didn't eat all day.
Right.
And you have and that's what I call it, the county jail diet. And the one thing about Weight Watchers is you go and you sit with a bunch of women or gay guys or whatever on Sundays, and it seems fucked up at first. But for the $12, it's worth everything because you learn how to eat. And now I've been in the program 18 months, and I've lost close to 92 pounds, 90 pounds with Weight Watchers, another 15 on my own. But what I'm telling you is that this takes work. But it's not even the pain from the walking and all that shit. It's overcoming the shame at first and how to get started.
Right.
And if anybody has any problems with this, please email me, bro. Don't be ashamed. Because I'm living proof. I smoke pot with 3 hands, and I've lost the 90 pounds. So you can't tell me no excuses.
Right.
But it hasn't been easy. You got to work at it. You got to walk. You got to drink water, which I hated fucking water.
Right.
I never ate vegetables.
I hate water
never
too,
ate. And my diet now is very simple. I eat 1 egg for breakfast and 2 pieces of toast and 2 pieces of bacon. I'll eat like fruit, and then I'll go to Roma Deli. I eat lunch, guys.
Right.
I go to Chinese restaurant. I go to Chinese deli, and I get the Kung Pao chicken. But I watch everything. Everything's just, I don't drink sodas no more. I drink a lot
I don't
more
drink
water.
sodas either.
No, sodas. I was drinking 20 Cokes a night. And
I was drinking, especially because you're doing comedy.
comedy. You don't want to, you feel everybody's drinking booze.
Yeah.
You got to have something in your glass.
Right.
All these momos are walking around with water like they're waiting to live in a desert.
Yeah.
You're a comedian, bitch. Put the water away. You know what I'm saying? Fucking like all of a sudden you're G.I. Joe. You know, you're at night. Oh my God, I'm so dehydrated. What, from doing 10 minutes? Cut the shit, stupid. Get that fucking booze. Get that Jack and Coke, motherfucker. And that's the same way I was. Like, I would just drink sodas, but I would count them at the end of the day. I drink 50 fucking sodas in a day.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, guys, it's amazing. Like, I'm putting on shirts that Terry goes to sleep in. Like, shirts I gave her years ago to sleep in. I put one on the other day. It's big on me. And I'm sitting there going, you know what, man? This is all thanks to Weight Watchers. And as stupid as it sounds, people, try it. If you have 20 pounds to lose or 50 pounds to lose, contact me. We'll go over the points. And it's fucking easy. But there's no reason. And I still need 50 pounds to lose. You know what that is, to lose 100 pounds and you're still a fat fuck? That, but I'm in the race. I'm going to live, And lately I've been smoking cigarettes like a jerk off at night and stuff, and I shouldn't do that. But guess what? Weight Watchers affected. It's a lifestyle. You're not going to lose weight on a diet. It's a fucking lifestyle. You got to go to bed early. You got to join a gym or your Y. And you know what? You get out there and you walk. You don't even need a gym.
Right.
You just put the iPod on and you fucking walk. You smoke a joint, you don't smoke a joint, whatever turns you, you eat a cheese sandwich, whatever. But just get out there. And I tell you what, these pounds start to fall off and you'll feel a lot better about yourself. And I'm no authority. I'm a fat fuck. I open up a brand new thing of peanut butter, like virgin peanut butter. My dick gets hard. That's how I knew I was a fat fuck. A couple of weeks ago, I realized I have to live with this for the rest of my life. I like to eat good food. Yeah. I like to eat. I like to eat pussy. I like to eat food. That's my motto. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good motto, by the way.
Yeah. And pussy's like 7 calories.
Yeah.
I don't know if people know that. It's like 3 points if it's got hair, 4 if it doesn't have hair. Eat all you want, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? You can lick every part of that monkey, and it's but
Joey
that's
says.
I just want to tell people that, you know what? I'm not the healthiest guy in the world. You got to work at it. And if you're embarrassed, please don't be. Because the embarrassment is later on when you got to walk in a fucking cart and you're 55 and you can't enjoy life. What a way to go,
I think that whole story is an example anyone can use if anyone has found themselves in a hole like that. You know what I mean? And I think it's baby steps, It's baby steps.
And I fought the weight, the cocaine, all that stuff. And at the same time, I tried to work on my character because that was one thing you asked me earlier about Terry. And, I wanted to be the best man that Terry could. I heard that song by the guys who were in Nirvana and they broke up.
Oh, the Foo Fighters.
The Foo Fighters. And he's got a song called "The Best of You." And I remember not the words, just the thought of that. The best of you. Am I getting the best of you? What is the best Felicia's ever been?
Right.
And I kept thinking of that song, and I'm like, the best of you. When I go on stage, am I really giving them the best that I could be? When I walk around as a human being, and I see, last week I was walking in the morning, and I was a little high, and I looked to the floor, and there's a check with cash in an envelope in front of the church.
No way. In front of a church?
In front of a church.
That's a test from God right there.
And I had money for weed and money for lunch, but I could have used the money. And I picked up the envelope and I went looking for the people and I gave it to her.
Awesome.
And I didn't do it because it was like 100 cash in there. I could have just thrown away the check and kept the cash. But I'm trying to work at that. Last night you were talking about that you went on a very romantic date. And a lot of the listeners are guys.
Right.
And maybe we don't know what the fuck romance is. We think romance is a candle, Chinese food, and we stick it in you. But from now on, we're going to have a sex tip with Felicia. Today is off the cuff, but we're going to dope it up with music and stuff. And you're going to probably hear smells coming to your fucking podcast. So right now, the debut episode of Felicia's Romantic Minute, which we're going to do every week. And it could be about sex. It could be about just a gesture to do towards a woman to make her day.
Yes.
So this is going to be called Felicia's Sexual Make Your Day. Here he is, the pilot episode. Go.
Well, here's the thing. And I'm going to be completely honest. I have an activity partner.
Okay.
We haven't figured out what's going on, but it's all good, right? And so our activity can last in 5-6 hours, right?
Right.
And But I started my period yesterday, and we had a date, an activity date, and he was like, "Let's go to the movies or to dinner," and I was all like, "Fuck, I don't want to have some kind of fucking we're going to the movies kind of date. I mean, that's I don't want to be at that point because it's all new. You just So then he goes, "I'm gonna take you to the first place where I had sex, where I lost my virginity." And I was like, that's an awesome idea. So we got a bottle of wine, and we went to State Beach in Santa Monica, and we sat at night as the sun set, and we sat on the lifeguard station, and he told me about the first time he had sex and how he lost his virginity, and he was completely open about it, and it was the perfect night. You know what I mean? So my tip is, got to think out of the box, my friends. You know what I mean? If you want to get in the box, think out of the box.
If you want to get in the box, you got to think out of the box. That's the name of the segment. If you want to get in the box, you got to think out of the box right there. That's a new
my segment.
There it is.
There it is.
So that's the segment for this week.
So think out of the box,
That's right. So if you want to really make your woman, so that was it. That was the gesture. It was just a simple gesture.
I think if you're in a relationship and you want to come up with simple ways, and by the way, in this economy, he spent $10 on a bottle of wine. It was actually like 18. That's it. That's all the money, and he was in. You know what I mean? And it was really cool. So that's what you got to do.
Guys? See, you learn something new. That's what we do here at Beauty and the Beast. We keep you focused, we make you laugh, and we talk about insights and what's really crack-a-lacking with us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's it, basically.
Okay. Well, anyway, Joey.
Yes, my love.
This was a great podcast.
This was a great podcast. A great day today.
I certainly like my mornings with you.
I love my morning. We started with Yum Yum. You know, we get some coffee, and we talk to our favorite people in the world, the people that listen to this podcast, because without you guys, we'd have fucking ugats. So from mine and Felicia's, from the bottom of my hearts, thank you very much for listening. If you have any ideas, hit it, Felicia.
You can email us at beautyandthebeast, D-A-the-beast, podcast@gmail.com.
And if you have any romantic questions for Felicia, because I got no romance in my life. I love my wife, but I got no romance.
Oh, you're
Felicia,
so full of it. You don't do anything romantic for your wife?
Yeah, from time to time, I pull her hair, that type of stuff.
Yeah, you got to take her to the place you lost your virginity.
What, the jail? They won't let her in. She's got to do special paperwork and shit. We love you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. That was a good one.